Hi, family. I wanted to give you guys a present. Wanted to give you guys a heads up. I've got this really great video that will premiere on Tuesday. The video is titled, Africa is the Land of Opportunities. I don't want you to miss that video, guys. It will premiere on Tuesday. Africa is the land of opportunities. I'll chat about that extensively. Don't miss that video. Please share that video will be out on Tuesday. Africa is the land of opportunities. Stay tuned for this video. This video will be about why Americans are moving to the motherland, why Americans are moving to Africa, why Americans are moving to Johannesburg. Hello, family. Welcome back to the channel. This is Jackie, aka Nala. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Shout out to all my viewers all over Africa. Shout out also to my viewers in New Zealand. Special shout out to my New York family, particularly Harlem. I appreciate all of you guys. Well, guys, as promised, we're going to continue chatting about why Americans are moving back to Africa. We're going to continue chatting about why Americans are moving to Johannesburg. We're going to continue that conversation. I've got lots of things to talk about and chat with you guys. I do. Well, first of all, it's this. Americans are falling in love with the food, with the African food. For me, I love African food. I do. Listen, this thing you guys call fufu, my goodness. I love fufu. Did you hear me, guys? I love fufu. More and more Americans who are traveling to Africa, they're finding out about this fufu. Well, listen, it's delicious, okay? Listen, I love fufu, guys. I do. Well, listen, we're falling in love with the food. More and more Americans are. But listen, I'm a little ahead of the game because my family is actually from the Caribbean, so we cook a lot of things that are similar to fufu. Actually, one in particular that's called kuku, all right? So it's along those lines, okay? It's made of corn, kind of looks like fufu, but it's a firmer texture. But anyway, that's just one of the reasons why Americans are moving back to Africa. Why they're so interested in Johannesburg, for example. It's the food. We love the food, guys. We love the food. And we know that, moving to Africa and traveling to Africa, we're going to have the food in abundance. Oh my God, all the African restaurants, all the delicacies, my goodness. I love the different meats. I love the variety of meats. When we travel to, in our first stop, in Africa, Johannesburg. What was it? It was some type of wild meat that we ate. I forgot what it was. It wasn't oxtail. It was something in the beef family. It was definitely a red meat. But whatever it was, I enjoyed the meat. There's a wider variety of meats that you can have access to, traveling to Africa, particularly the Johannesburg area, for example, with all the variety of restaurants that Johannesburg offers. Listen, I told you before, Johannesburg is a metropolis. It is, guys, it is. So the foods are definitely an attraction to Americans traveling into Africa, traveling into Johannesburg, for example. The food is an attraction. We love the food. Americans love the food. And if they have a Caribbean background like myself, they're going to love the food even more because the food is very similar. Caribbean food compared to African food. Very similar. But we want more of the food. Listen, we want more of the food. We want fresh food. And traveling to Africa with all the farms and the farming, etc. Fresh food. Fresh produce. Can I get fresh produce on a regular basis? Can I? Yes, I can. If I travel to Africa, fresh food every day. Absolutely. Fruits and vegetables fresh on a regular basis. I'm tired of walking into the supermarkets in the U.S., okay, and seeing these wilted greens, okay, these fruits, when you take them home, by the next day, they're turning a different color to what you bought them. to how you bought them. They're turning a different color. So the food is definitely an attraction. The food is definitely an attraction to families that are traveling in Africa, around Africa. For example, Johannesburg. The food is an attraction. We love the food. We do. We do. I love fufu. Plantain fufu, cassava fufu. What is it? The white yam fufu. Any kind of fufu I love. Let me tell you, I love it. I make it on a regular basis. Now, of course, my fufu's not going to be as good, as someone who was actually born and raised making fufu in Africa. It's not going to be, that good, but I'm going to try to get as close as I can. Okay, I am. I absolutely will. So listen, this fufu, guys, I keep a supply of fufu at my house because my family loves fufu also. They do. So yes, food is definitely one of the top reasons why Americans are thinking about traveling to Africa, who have already moved to Africa. The food, we appreciate the food. It is okay, yeah. Now another thing that we appreciate is this. My goodness, we appreciate traveling into Africa, around Africa. Like particularly Johannesburg. And we're seeing individuals predominantly that look like myself. The majority people look like us. It's a wonderful thing, guys. It's a wonderful feeling. Yes, it is. It is. And then the respect that you get from the people in Africa, just the welcome. Like, for example, guys, I told you in my previous videos, we didn't even land yet, just traveling through the airports, okay? And, someone who was from Joburg called me mama. At least 2 or 3 people referred to me as mama in the airports, on the airplane. Mama. Mama is a very endearing term. It's a wonderful term, whether you're a mother or not. When you hear the word mama, it touches your soul. You appreciate that person so much. You just want to hug them and hold on to them. So I love being called mama. Listen, lived in America, variety of states in America. And there is only one person in my lifetime, and guys, I'm seasoned. One person in my lifetime that referred to me as mama that was not my biological daughter. One person. And that person actually happened to have been from Africa. I think I told you guys about that story. Yeah, he's actually from Guinea. I consider him like a son. My goodness, it's a wonderful feeling when someone says mama. And you get that from Africans. That type of respect, that type of automatic love, it's a welcome. It's like, let me get to know you. Wow, it's a wonderful thing. So I appreciate the love and respect from all the Africans that refer to seasoned women like myself as mama. Shout out to all of you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. I do. That word mama is wonderful, and it flows freely in Africa, all around Africa, all over Africa. The word mama flows. It flows. We appreciate you guys. We do. Now listen, onto a sensitive topic. Here's another reason why people are thinking about, or perhaps planning to move away from America to somewhere in Africa. They're thinking about it a lot. They're planning it a lot. A lot of people, many people, thousands, perhaps millions. I don't know. But thousands have already made the trip from America or from somewhere in the diaspora back to Africa. And here's one of the key reasons. Let me give you 3 letters, guys. BLM. Black Lives Matter. Period, guys. It does. This is year 2023. And in America, all across America, We have 52 states, right? And in more states than I can even call out right now, there is a struggle that people who look like me are going through every single day. There's a struggle. It's like it's dangerous just to walk out your house to your mailbox to pick up your mail. It's sometimes dangerous. Sometimes you live in a particular neighborhood and others feel that you shouldn't live in that neighborhood. And you'll walk into your mailbox and someone might call the police on you. That's a serious thing to be dealing with on a daily basis. 2023, and we're still dealing with those types of things in America, the America that so many Africans want to move to. Now, that's a separate video, guys. I'll talk about that. People thinking about moving from Africa to America should think about some key concerns that I'm going to disclose in my next video. Stay tuned to that video. Stay tuned for that video, guys. I'll probably publish that video like on Tuesday. So stay tuned for that video. Listen, guys, if you like my vibe, if you like my content, go ahead and press that like button. Thank you, guys. You know I appreciate you guys so much. I do. Listen, share my video, share the content. People need to hear about this particular channel. We're talking about some real issues. There isn't anything that I'm not going to discuss on this channel. If you have some suggestions, some comments, drop me a comment, please. I want to know what you guys would like to hear me talk about. Drop me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from, guys. If you like foo-foo like I do, drop me a comment about that. How you feeling today, guys? Drop me a comment. Let me know how you're feeling. I'd like to know. Because our lives matter. Black lives matter, period. Black lives matter. We do. So it's a serious thing going on across the U.S. So that's one of the key reasons I believe people are also thinking about and planning on moving away from America, because they feel threatened every single day, male or female, regardless of the age, walking down the street while black, and a police officer could approach us, and that could end up with some type of physical situation that leads to the point where someone's not going home that night. This is a serious topic, guys, but it's a serious issue that's going on all across America. And it's something that we're trying to live with as best as we can. We're trying to deal with it. We're protesting and making our voices heard. But the fact is, people are trying to leave America because of this topic. Fact. It is. It's a fact. It is. Well, listen. Another reason why people are thinking about moving away from America to Africa, thinking about leaving the diaspora, wherever they live in the diaspora, whether it be America, whether it be UK, whether it be Canada, wherever they are, people are thinking about relocating to the motherland, to the continent of Africa. They're thinking about it. It's the cost of living. The cost of living in America is very high. It's very common that a person works in America not one, but 2 jobs just to try to make ends meet. And those 2 jobs, sometimes they don't make the ends meet. They're just barely getting by. It's very common that people are working. Americans are working here in America. That's right, in 2023, and they're barely making ends meet. That is a reason why Americans are thinking about and planning on moving away from America, because this land of opportunity, many times and for many families, it's a land of struggle, struggling financially. Like I've mentioned in my previous videos, families struggle across the world, all over the world, including America. Americans working two jobs. They work the 9 to 5 job, and you know what? They go home for a few hours, and maybe they're working, let's say, a 9 p.m. job to 1 a.m. or something like that. Sometimes they're working a double shift, 16-hour days. They're working that. And again, they're working these hours, and they're still not able to make ends meet. So we have no choice but to think about, well, where can we live in this world where it's going to be, where we can make a success of our lives financially. It always starts with the financing, with the finances. It always starts with the finances in terms of making things better for families. It always starts there. So this, working two jobs, people are tired of that. We're sick of that. People are sick of that. You know what? And listen, it might not be my story, but I remember when I was much younger. Yeah, you guys, I'm 25. So when I was much younger, yeah, I remember working those two jobs. I remember that. I remember it. Yes. Okay. But you know what? Here we are in 2023, and people in America are still having the need to work two jobs. And those two jobs is to pay rent for sometimes a 1-bedroom apartment. And I'm always going to give my example, New York, because New York, people can identify. It's a major city. It's a mega city, just like Johannesburg. People can identify with Johannesburg. So I'm going to always give you those two comparisons. Okay. So yeah. So for example, typical in New York, 1-bedroom apartment. My goodness, a 1-bedroom apartment might be close to like $1,800 somewhere, not in the main city, not in Manhattan, not in New York. Perhaps it's somewhere in Brooklyn. $1,800, but it's going to be a very tiny apartment, okay? And you might even find a studio apartment, which is basically one large room, sleeping area, eating area, kitchen area, bathroom, one large room, studio apartment, $1,200, easy in New York. And you know what? Many New Yorkers are making minimum wage. What are they working for? Like $14 an hour, $18 an hour, less than $20 an hour. It's a serious struggle here in the U.S. It is a serious struggle. So people automatically feel the need for where can I live? Where can I take my family? Where I'm going to be able to live comfortably, create a happy life for myself and my family. People are thinking about that every day. It's natural. People are feeling the struggle here in America, and it's natural. It's natural for them to think about living somewhere else, and that somewhere else for many Americans happens to be the continent of Africa. Many countries in Africa to choose from, many countries, but lots of opportunities. Absolutely, there is. So you know what? Why spend $1,200, let's say, at least for the tiny studio apartment, let's say in New York, and you might have 1 or 2 kids in that studio apartment somewhere in New York, okay? And it might be, 2 floors of walk-up stairs to get to that apartment at least. Why live like that if perhaps you can live differently? Perhaps you can live better in another country. These are some reasons why people are thinking about and why people have moved away from America. It's the high cost of living, the high cost of rent. It's the fact that they're working 2 jobs to try to make ends meet. Now, you know what? More than likely, they can't even afford a car. If they're making minimum wage, there are many Americans who cannot afford a car living in America, the land of opportunity. Many Americans cannot. Now, let's say for the Americans who have been fortunate enough to be able to buy a house. They buy that house, and I mentioned this in the previous video. Typically in America, you're buying a house with a mortgage, with a loan, where you agree to pay back that loan over a 30-year period. That's a big deal. Things change in families' lives over the years. Somebody loses their job, automatic issue. Possibility of losing the house, very real. It happens every day. Remember, guys, I told you I'm a real estate broker. So I know what's happening in the market and what has happened over the years. It has been a struggle for many families to hold on to their houses here in America. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And the other thing is, let's say, again, gave you the example. Let's say you're fortunate enough to find, let's say, a 3-bedroom house somewhere in the U.S. for at least $250,000. Well, depending on the interest rate on that house, wow, you're talking about a hefty mortgage payment every month. Can you afford to pay that mortgage consistently every month? Challenge. That mortgage alone might be $1,600 depending on the interest rate and more. Taxes affects that monthly payment. You might be looking at a close to $2,000 in a monthly mortgage payment on a house, somewhere at least $2,000. Let me correct myself. In America, 2,000 US dollars. Okay, that's a lot of money. And remember, we're talking about small houses. We're not talking about houses that's on any large piece of land. I would say the average piece of land for a lot, for example, you maybe if you're lucky, a third of an acre, maybe if you're lucky. Okay, sometimes a backyard is a luxury in America, especially in New York. If you got green space in New York attached to your house, it's going to cost you more money. Mortgages are high. The insurance on the house is high. The taxes on the properties are high. Period. Yes, they are. And the size of what size of house you're going to get. Now, I know houses for sale right now in New York. 3-bedroom house, okay, 2-story house. It has a 2-car garage. House needs a lot of work. Value on the house probably about close to 600,000 US dollars. House needs a lot of work. Typical for a Brooklyn house. Typical. 600,000 is a hefty mortgage anywhere in the world. $600,000 mortgage is a hefty mortgage. Okay, because that's the mortgage payment plus the insurance plus the taxes. Okay, if that house is in some type of homeowners association, tag that on to the monthly payment as well. People are working 2-3 jobs just to hold on to their house. It's a struggle in America. It is. These are some reasons why people are moving from America to Africa. It is. Why struggle in America with a $600,000 mortgage payment for a tiny 3-bedroom house, for example, that needs renovation, needs a lot of work, that's on this much land, when you can move to, for example, Johannesburg? Lots of people are interested in Johannesburg, and we know why. It's a beautiful city. It is. You can get an $800,000 Rand house in Johannesburg. That's going to be about, well, we know it's definitely going to be about under 50,000. I think my last estimate was about 43,400 US dollars for a Johannesburg house. That's about 800,000 Rand. Now, guys, these are reasons why people want to move away from America, because they can get a house, for example, like in Johannesburg or anywhere in Africa for a fraction of the cost of what it would cost them in America. It's natural if people are struggling, if people are having a hard time in life, people see themselves not getting ahead. It's natural for a person and for a family to think about moving elsewhere. And why not the continent of Africa? They're thinking about it. They're planning it. They've already moved. It's happening every day. I'm so excited about it because Africa is the land of opportunity. It is. It is. And in particular, Johannesburg, it has all the conveniences to a major city in America. All the conveniences, all the brands that you can find in the major stores in New York and in California, in Texas. you can find in Johannesburg. The name restaurants, okay, the restaurant chains that you can find in the major cities in the U.S., you can find in Johannesburg. People like that. It's familiar to them. So that's why they are leaning towards, that's why they're gravitating towards Johannesburg. Johannesburg has a lot to offer. They do. They do. It's a wonderful thing. And then they're going to be surrounded by the majority of people who look like me. People like that idea. It's a good feeling, guys. It is. It is. When every country that I've traveled to in Africa, I felt at home. A special feeling, just a warm feeling on the inside that I can't even fully describe. But Africa definitely is a home to me. America is a home too, but Africa is the motherland. I feel at peace there. I always feel Africa calling me. It's a wonderful thing. It is. It is.